All right. First of all, I want to make sure that you know that I changed your outline, and I did not change it in eBackpack yet. So today we are covering our goal on finding the equation, finding the equation of lines, and on Wednesday we're going to do functions. And having full days of class all week, I have decided to move the test, the big test, super goal test, to Friday instead of next week. So what will happen is your super goal test will be Friday, and then these last two goals that we're covering, I will also take them as separate goal assessment grades off of your super goal assessment. Okay, so we're gonna save a day in there for that. So your big test will be on this Friday. Okay. All right. In goal 7.6, we are writing equations or finding the equation of a line given specific information. We're going to use the slope-intercept equation to do that. It's possible that some of you have used the point-slope equation and done something like this before, but I'm going to stick with using y equals mx plus b. Okay. I'm also going to have you leave your answers in that form instead of changing them to standard form. I really have no idea what other teachers expect in terms of this, but that saves us a little work not to have to put it into standard form. Okay. So for every question that we're going to do, with the exception of special lines, now let's remember what special lines mean. Special lines, if you have the words horizontal line or vertical line or slope of 0 or no slope, those would all indicate special lines, okay, that they were just horizontal, just vertical, no x and y in the equation, but either just an x or just a y, okay? So with the exception of those kind, basically for all of these, you're going to do a fill in the blank. You're going to have a y equals something x plus or minus something. So we're going to have to find the slope, and we're going to have to find the y-intercept to complete our answer, okay? So we're going to find m, we got to find b, put them in those blanks, and then we have our answer, okay? Some of them are going to be more challenging than others, so your brain's got to think a little bit differently, just what you want to do on a Monday morning, okay? But your brain's got to think a little bit differently on some of these questions on how to find that information, okay? It's very important to know that parallel lines have the same slope. Okay, two lines which are parallel to each other, may be lines that do not intersect in the same plane. Their slopes are exactly the same. Okay? Perpendicular lines have negative reciprocal slopes. So an example of negative reciprocals would be like one of them would be 2/3 and the other one would be a negative 3/2. So they're opposite signs and they're both flipped. Okay? So two lines that are perpendicular have slopes like this. One of them has a slope of 2/3, the other has a slope of negative 3/2. Negative reciprocals, those lines would be perpendicular, intersecting at right angles. Okay? All right, so let's go. I've given you a variety of examples. I'm not real repetitive on this, so you're not going to see a lot of repeats here. I'm doing something a little bit different on every question. Okay? So find the equation of the line with the information provided. So, again, unless they indicate somehow that you're working with a special line, you're going to be doing a fill in the blank. Okay, basically you're going to fill this in. It's lagging because I've already written this, okay? So you're going to fill in those two spots. You're going to fill in m in front of the x, and then you're going to fill in the b. It does not give us any indication that we have a special line. In fact, this is as simple as it gets because I'm giving you the information. The slope is 1/2. That goes as the coefficient of the x. The y-intercept is +3, so +3. So that's my answer. Y equals 1/2 x plus 3. So this is what I mean by you're going to fill in the blank with the slope and the y-intercept. Using your knowledge to find the information. Okay, so next example. No indication that we have a special line, so I know I'm going to do this. They tell me that my slope is 2/3, so I'm going to fill that in. My m is 2/3. They give that to me. They do not give me my b. So I'm going to find my b. I'm going to use the slope-intercept equation. Now remember, there is another equation that you can use called the point-slope equation. And sometimes the y equals mx plus b is better. Sometimes the slope-intercept equation is better. I just stick with the y equals mx plus b. Okay? So, in this equation, so I'm going to explain the parts of this so we know what we're doing here. When I take this y equals mx plus b equation, the m represents the slope of the line. We know that. And on any given line, that m never changes. It's the same everywhere on the line. The b, there's one of them. There's only one. It only can cross the y-axis one time. It's a line. It's a linear equation. It can only cross the y-axis one time. So there's only one b value. But this x and y that are in this equation represent all of the xy's that would work in that equation, which there are an infinite number of. Okay? So that xy represent all of the xy's, all of the ordered pairs, the coordinates that would work. They give us one of them. And that's all we need. We only need one. Okay? They give us one. They're telling me that my line passes through this point. It's one of the points on the line. So I can take this information, this being my m, this being my x, and this being my y, and I can plug that into this, and it will give me, or I can solve for, I should say, my b. So my y, which is -4, my m, which is 2/3, my x, which is 6, plus b. And then I solve that. So -4 equals 2/3 times 6 is 4, plus b. Subtract 4, and b is -8. Okay, so 2/3 times 6 is 4. If you can't do that in your head, use your calculator. Subtract this 4 to get b alone, and b is a -8. And I go and I plug that into my other blank spot. So my final answer, y equals 2/3 x minus 8. So that y equals mx plus b equation can be used several ways. That's one of the ways. You'll see another way here in a little bit. Next question. Slope is 0. Ding, 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 ding. I should be thinking already this is a special line. So when I see 0 slope, no slope, horizontal line, vertical line, this is a special line. So there's no work to do on this question. It's a completely in my brain question. So this is my thought process now. I have a line that has a slope of 0. That means that it's horizontal. Does that mean it's an x or a y equals? So these are those three pieces of information you got to keep together in your mind, in your brain. Slope of 0 is horizontal. Horizontal is y equals. So if it's a y equals and it passes through that point, what does y equal? -17, the y value. If this is going to be a vertical line or a horizontal line, which is a y equals, and it goes through this point, then y has to equal the y value of that point. Very good. So no work to do on a question like that. That's all going to be from your brain. All those connections you have to make there. So if you have not made the connection, that slope of 0, horizontal, y equals, all goes together. And x, vertical, no slope goes together. Okay? So that's a complete brain question. Because remember, if it's a horizontal line, the y value is going to be the same every single time. It's going to be 17 at every single point. Okay? All right, next question. Contains the points 3, 1, and 6, 7. They do not give us any direct information here. No indication that we have a special line. So I know I'm going to do the fill in the blank. I know I've got to find my M and B. But they don't give us either one this time. But what I just did on my assessment today, I know how to find M. You have 2 points. If you have 2 points, you can find M. So M equals y minus y, 1 minus 7 over x minus x, 3 minus 6, and I get negative 6 over negative 3, which is a positive 2. And I fill it in. Then I have to get my B. And I get my B the same way I got the B 2 questions ago. I use my little formula, y equals mx plus b, and I fill it in. I just found my M, and I have 2 different xy's that I can choose from. And it does not matter which one you use, either the 3-1 or the 6-7, they will both give you the exact number. I'm going to go with the 3-1. So I'm going to plug that into my y equals mx plus b. So my y is 1, m is 2, x is 3 plus b. So 1 equals 6 plus b. Subtract 6, and b is negative 5. And I go fill that in. 2x minus 5 is my answer. Y equals 2x minus 5. So, when you're filling in those blanks, you got to think, I've got to get M, and I've got to get B. And you got to know, using what we've done so far in this chapter, how to find those. Okay, next example, no indication that we have any kind of special line, no keywords popping out there, so we know we're going to do a fill in the blank. This time they give you B. They tell you the y-intercept is equal to negative 2. So I know that goes here. Now, I still have to find the M. Got a couple different ways I can go here. This is what I would do. I know that the x-intercept is 5, but I also know that as an ordered pair, that means 5, 0. And my y-intercept is negative 2, and as an ordered pair, that's 0, negative 2. Because at the x-intercept, your y is always 0, and at the y-intercept x is always 0. So I've just made my intercepts ordered pairs instead of just a number, and then I can use my slope formula. Y minus the other y, and x minus x. And I get 2 over 5. Okay? Now, there would be another way to do that where you could make your x-intercept your 5, 0, and you could use that point and the negative 2 to find M. I think this way's easier. That one's a little more confusing. All right, ding, 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 vertical line. Keywords there to know that this is a special line. So this is all up in my brain question. It's vertical. Vertical is an x equals. If it passes through the point 11